So today I'm talking to some husbands, including my own, of type 1 diabetics. We've got James, Danny, he's mine, and Paul. So I'm going to ask this question, and you guys can answer as needed. If for some reason you don't want to answer the question, you can just let the others chime in. But okay. I want to know with you guys, did it ever worry you that you were falling in love with someone who had a very demanding and expensive chronic illness that would probably never go away?
Well, for me, not really. Because when you're starting a new relationship, you're not usually worrying about, what the future is holding, because you're just having fun with the current relationship.
In love, yeah.
And then by the time you actually, you get to the point where you want to marry the person, it doesn't really matter what illnesses they have because you want to marry them. So yeah, it never really worried me.
Good answer.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think, like what he said, you don't really think about that, and that's not really what you're focused on when you're falling in love. So the realities don't really hit you till a little bit later on. But
yeah, when you start getting all those bills coming in. I know that you said that you did think about it,
Pass.
No, I remember you told me that you had thought about it. And you knew that it would be stuff we'd have to talk about.
Yeah, I remember after our first date, I remember going to sleep that night, and I told myself I think I'd be okay marrying someone who was diabetic, knowing that it was something that was not going away. I mean, it was going to be a very large part of our life, so I was okay with that. And
it is a large part of our lives. So another question I have for you guys is, what did you worry about, either in the beginning? I mean, maybe you still worry about it, but what were your big worries when dating a type 1 diabetic?
Well, for me, I kind of learned what all the different complications of diabetes are, and they're really scary, And sometimes things will, flare up or things will happen, and it kind of makes you realize that, this sounds horrible, but, those complications could lead to, a death. Mm-hmm. And that's always been, that's kind of always in the back of my mind, is that, at some point it will end, and that's sad.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a big concern, I think, for anyone who goes into a lifelong partnership with someone who lives with us.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, it's difficult. There's a lot of things you can worry about. My mom's cousin was diagnosed. He's no longer with us. And when I was in high school, I remember my great aunt and uncle helping him through a lot of the health challenges he was having. So my family definitely dealt with what can happen if you don't take care of the diabetes, So a lot of it's just giving the person space. If, she needs to exercise every day. Okay, maybe I'd like some help with this chore or something, but, give her the space. Take care of that. And, just make health a priority. And that's something that is very important. And I think a lot of type 1s don't do. They're not making health a priority that they need to.
Right.
So.
I think sometimes, I know for me, I struggle with feeling like I shouldn't be allowed to make my health such a big priority, because the rest of our society doesn't make health a priority.
Right.
And so it's kind of hard to go against the grain of the rest of the culture, who's like, work really hard until you collapse and eat a pizza every night,
Right.
I know that commercials talk about being healthy, but our culture doesn't exude that. So I think it's hard to feel like we have to work in such a different manner to take care of ourselves.
Sure. I just want to say, too, it's not all gloom and doom that I worry about, though.
Of course.
Because, another worry that I've had is, what if she goes low while driving, and then all of a sudden you have to drive home low? That's kind of scary, because it's about the same as driving drunk, which is very dangerous.
Yes, yeah.
So, and I've heard stories from Amy where she was like, I realized I was low all of a sudden, and luckily there was a gas station there, and I didn't have anything on me, so I just had to go get a Snickers real quick, and that's a worrying thought.
Little extra things. It's you can always be prepared, but there's always a situation where things can happen. What about you, hun?
I think my worries might have been a little more selfish. I was more worried about not understanding diabetes as well as I felt I should have. That's why I was really eager to learn, and I wanted to make sure that if you needed my help, I knew what to do. You know, sugar for lows, insulin for highs, type of things. And I remember telling myself that you got this far before meeting me without my help, so obviously you know what you're doing, and that kind of eased my anxiety a little bit. But it was more just that I wanted to make sure that I could do what if you needed help with something, I was there to do it. But otherwise, I didn't really want to let myself worry too much, because that's just kind of a downer.
Well, yeah, thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. There is a lot of scary things that we can worry about, and we have to kind of make a decision. I think I'm talking from a different perspective, but I think both people in a marriage, when someone is type 1, we both have to decide how much we're going to worry about inevitable complications and accidents because we're low and stuff, and all we can do is, as James said, make health the number one priority. The other things can wait. We just have to do the best we can all the time. When you guys were dating, or maybe early on in marriage, did you ever have a situation where your partner, your spouse, got really, really low, or just something scary and emergency-like happened? And can you share that experience if you'd like?
Yeah, pretty early on when we were dating, we went out to dinner at a place a couple miles from where Cynthia lived, out in Woodbury, and we took a walk there because there's a nice pasture there with horses there from our apartment between the restaurant. We walked there, had a meal, and we ended up taking another walk around some trails for a little bit longer. And about halfway back, it was about a 2-mile walk from the restaurant back. All of a sudden, Cynthia stops. She goes, "I'm low. I need to stop." I'm like, "Okay, what does that mean? You have low blood sugar?" Okay. Yeah. She tests, and it comes out, it's 40. I'm like, "Is that bad?" I didn't know. She's like, "Yeah, it's really bad. Like, can you make it back?" I was like, "No, I need to stop." And so we're like a mile from anything around there, this little storage facility. I'm looking, okay, there's a Coke machine in there. Can I climb the fence? Can I explain that to the police when they show up? Otherwise, okay, I need to run to the apartment back and drive. And hey, that's not going to go very well.
Right.
Didn't know what to do. Luckily, a cab pulled off the freeway and just was doing a U-turn, turning around for some reason, because there's no other reason to be on that road at all. And we're lucky, if I can grab the cab. She's like, "Get the cab, get the cab." And so I grabbed the cab, and he got a very short fare. We gave him a decent tip, but we got back to her place, and she got her juice and her chocolate chips and whatever she needed. But that was the first time I'd really come face to face with how serious things can get when things go wrong.
Yeah, I bet she never forgot her snacks on walks ever again after that.
Yeah. Nope.
It happens to you one time and you never forget again.
If you see her purse, it's about
I know. I have one just like it. Was there anything?
I don't think we've ever had a time when you got seriously low. You've always been really good about having your snacks with you.
There's still time, but we haven't had that scary low yet.
Yeah, I mean, the closest is just during the night when you wake me up and have me, run and get juice or something. But usually, no, you're pretty prepared.
Well, and one thing that, since I'm here with my husband to share this, I wanted to let everyone know that one of the most helpful things, when I'm low, I can remember to ask him to do this, is if I know I'm really low and it's in the middle of the night, Danny's really good about going and getting me what I need so that I don't have to crawl down the stairs and sit in the area with the fridge. And that's just the easiest thing for me to just eat way too much and overtreat my low. And it's so nice to have someone help me with that. However, when you have a low blood sugar, you're not thinking clearly. So most of the time I am just wandering around like a zombie, eating rice cakes and sitting on the floor in the kitchen, and Danny didn't know, so he couldn't help me. But the more you can ask for help, the better. Do you have a scary low?
Yeah,
story?
one time me and Amy were actually at my apartment, and we were watching Netflix. And she checked real quick because she said, "I feel low," and she was 34, I think.
Oh, boy.
And so I was like, okay, because at this point I knew what 34 meant. And so I was like, okay. So I ran to the fridge, and there was like a really old bottle of Coke in there. And so I poured that, and she drank the whole thing. And then she checked again after like 20 minutes, and she was like 41. So I was like, this isn't happening. By the end of the movie, like, so that was at the beginning of the movie. By the end of the movie, she was finally like back up there. But just like a 2-hour low is just,
Yeah.
it's kind of scary because
Yeah.
it's like, are you just not going to come back up?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah,
You know?
and it's so funny because sometimes we don't know why that happens.
right,
It
exactly.
just happens.
Yep.
The body's a frustrating thing. One other question is, I know that you guys, and you are very good about this too, is you guys help your spouse when they ask for help. And were you reluctant in the beginning when they asked for help? Did it feel awkward or just weird to be doing these tasks for them? Like, handing them the glucometer? Was it just weird? Did you guys have any reluctancy with that?
Well, I never did because I don't know. As soon as I realized how big of a problem and how much work diabetes is, I wanted to help, so I wanted to do whatever I could. So, when she woke me up in the middle of the night saying that she had a low, I would just immediately get up and try to go make her something. And then when she'd say, no, I don't want that, or no, I don't want that, because she gets really picky when she's low, I just forced a juice box in her face.
Good, that's good. Good, smart. How about you guys?
Not too much. I mean, most of the things that you ask, they're small things.
Yeah.
Go get this. And I think we have a system down where if she wakes me up in the middle of the night, we can kind of say, how low are you? And I
Yeah.
know exactly how to get 4, 6, or 8 ounces of juice. We've got these special glasses that I figured it out. Okay, I know 4 ounces.
Yeah.
And I'm careful with what I give her so she's not over-treating
Yeah.
because she'll drink orange juice and
Yep.
chocolate chips forever.
Yep, same
Yeah,
here.
that's just how it goes. So I'm like, are you sure you want all those?
Yeah.
And so we can keep it from having to, over-adjust. But,
Right, rebound.
But overall, they're not really that big a thing, so it's not that hard to do.
Good. I hope people watching this understand, the type 1 diabetics watching this understand it's not that much of a burden to ask your spouse to help you with these things, and it makes a huge difference. What about you, Hun? Do you have anything to add?
I think kind of like what Paul said. I wanted to know. I wanted to be helpful. I didn't let myself forget that it wasn't something you ever got to turn off. So I wanted to help relieve as much stress as I could from you.
My favorite thing is when sometimes after a very long day, my alarm on my cell phone goes off for Atlantis time. And that is actually right about 5 minutes after I've gotten incredibly comfortable on the couch. I've got my heated blanket on. I'm all set to watch a TV show. And the last thing I want to do is go get my Atlantis. So that's usually when I ask my husband to help out a little bit. And he's actually gotten really good at filling my syringe for me. So he just brings me my shot.
I also want to say, too, that I think most partners want to help their partner with diabetes, too. So if you are afraid to ask questions or, to ask for help, don't because they want to help you.
Yeah, that's very true. Thank you guys for being here today. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.